This is the best-selling plug-in hybrid in all of the United States. Nothing else really comes close because it's a Jeep, it's a Wrangler, and the price is actually right, unlike most Wranglers. And for 2024, there's some new changes on the outside and on the inside, some first-ever Jeep features. But don't get yourself twisted because this is still a Jeep, so that means it's pretty expensive, it's not so easy to drive on the highway, and it retains value almost like no other vehicle. So let's go drive. The Wrangler 4xe has been the most popular plug-in hybrid since 2021. Right now, 1 out of every 4 Wranglers is a 4xe. And it's not just because of the price, it's because as a plug-in hybrid, it's executed well. There used to be 5 engines, now there's 4. No more diesel for 2024, so if you want that, you're gonna have to go into the Gladiator where it's still available. This one is the 4xe, as I said, plug-in hybrid, combining that turbo 2-liter 4 with a 400-volt, 17 kilowatt-hour battery that's mounted right underneath those rear seats. It's got 96 cells. Sounds impressive, but it only delivers you 21 all-electric miles. That's not a lot, but it's enough. And there's multiple driving modes, which I will explain later, but check out the numbers. 49 mpge, which may not sound like a whole lot when you compare it to EVs and other plugins, but no other one does everything this can do off-road. That's the whole point of it. And the horsepower and the torque are very favorable, even though this is significantly heavier than a regular Wrangler. Check out the other engine options because they're also pretty good. That 3.6 liter V6, not my favorite, but it does come with a 6-speed manual as standard. And you can also get this 2-liter Turbo 4 as a standalone option without the hybrid assist. And of course, there's also the big bad V8. Gotta love that one. Watch the review. Yeah, please do watch it. And then come back and see what this can do. It's a lot different. There's 10 new wheel designs for the 2024 Wrangler, including these 20s on the high altitude. This is a trim that is only on the 4xe, and it upgrades the Sahara with body color fenders, you get body color bumpers, and the roof. And this is the Sky One Touch, so it's got that nice power fabric folding roof that costs about $4,000, but it's pretty cool in action. Because this is the 4xe, you're also getting the blue accents on the badges and the tow hooks. And really, there's no other changes from the side at all. New this year, this power box. It's got 4 outlets, 15 amps on either side, runs off the battery, and it's also got a USB-C port. Acts as a very handy extension cord if you're anywhere.
This Jeep Wrangler has a hidden compartment that I guarantee you didn't know about. Check this out. Open up the driver's door, come to the center console area. Everyone knows that you have lower and upper storage, but did you know about this? That's where we keep the squirrel money.
When you get the 4xe, you sacrifice a few cubes of cargo space. 28 behind the seats and 67 when folded. That is down from a regular Wrangler Unlimited, but with the 4xe, it only comes with 4 doors. 2 things I've always wanted in a Jeep Wrangler since 1941, power front seats and curtain airbags, finally bringing this Jeep up to modern safety standards.
Now, this goes back to 1941, World War II, the Jeep Wave. Now, rumor has it is that soldiers would use this while driving by each other and put up the 2 fingers as a sign of camaraderie and just to say, hey, what's going on? Now, fast forward 75 years, we're still doing that. We're still doing the Jeep Wave while we roll through. So I let you know, if you see a Jeep waving at you, it's for a purpose. They're waving just to say hello.
Now, the first unique feature on this 4xe is something that I'm really having a hard time getting used to. You know, for years and years, I just go up to a gas station and pull off the cap and start filling up. Well, in the 4xe, you can't access it from the outside without first making sure that you push the little button. And sometimes there's a delay there. It can take up to 10 seconds to open that up. And I can't tell you how many times I've gotten out and realized, I just needed to push that button before I got over here. Now, why does it do that? Well, there's actually a system that's monitoring how much pressure is in the fuel system before allowing you to open this to make sure it's safe. I mean, we're an electric vehicle. The last thing you want to do is, have static electricity going off. So it's making sure that there's not a lot of pressure in the system. It's kind of a safety issue. Now, what happens if that system fails? Well, the good news is the Jeep engineers designed a little trap door behind the fuel cap in the back, and you can pull on that little strap and that will open the door manually. Okay, here is where didn't really grasp this entire concept. This Jeep Wrangler 4xe is what's called a PHEV, a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. So you have electric vehicles like a Tesla where it has a big battery, you plug it in and you run strictly on electric mode. And then you have vehicles that have been around for a long time, which are hybrid vehicles, which have a small battery and the engine is constantly charging it or pulling power from it. So it's constantly assisting the gas motor. This has a 17.3 kilowatt hour battery pack right here behind the seat. It's completely sealed. In fact, you can still ford 30 inches of water in this Wrangler. But you plug this in and you get to use that power in strictly electric mode for a certain amount of miles. And specifically in my case, I can get about 24 miles running just on electric mode. And that's with 35-inch tires, which is pretty cool. But what happens when you finish, when you've depleted that? Well, this vehicle is always a hybrid. And so I validated that by two different ways. One, when I've gone in excess of the 24 electric miles and now I'm driving in hybrid mode, if I step on the gas, I can see on the dash that it's still pulling power from this and assisting the engine, and you can feel that 470 pound-feet of torque, which is great. The other thing that I've noticed is I have an app on my phone that reads the data when it charges, and I can see it absorbed 15.5, 15.6 kilowatt hours of power. But wait a minute, this is a 17.3 kilowatt battery, which means there's still power in this battery. The vehicle is constantly using that power, or it's using the motors to recharge it up to use that power again later. So there you go, plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. I have a little bit better understanding of this, and now hopefully you do as well. Hopefully I didn't confuse you too bad.
So the first of the off-road tests for these vehicles is the world-famous Ziggurat of Integrity. We're gonna take both of these trucks up the Ziggurat and see how far they go before lifting a tire up. Essentially, it's an articulation test, and I'm gonna give them the best chances they've got. I'm gonna disconnect sway bars, engage lockers, four-wheel drive low, see how high I can get before the rear tire comes off the ground. And it might not come off the ground at all. And in that case, it would be a success for both the Wrangler and the Bronco. But Wrangler first. All right, sway bars disconnected, front and rear lockers engaged, four low, moving up, easy does it. All right, now we watch the 5'8" man climb out of the car that's 12 feet off the ground. That was fun. So, as expected, Wrangler made it all the way up, rear tire's still on the ground. That is a win over the Ziggurat. You can see all the fun hardware underneath here, the body on frame construction we talked about, the lockers. There's not much different about the 4xe underneath, and that's kind of what makes it cool, is it's a plug-in hybrid that's also still a Wrangler. Now I gotta get back in, which is gonna suck. Does everybody have a step stool, guys? No? This is where you need. All right, so now we're gonna go for the Bronco. I've got the front and rear lockers engaged, stabilizer bar disconnected, four low, same chances as the Wrangler. See how well it does. I feel that rear wheel coming up. I'll give it a look-see. So, we have found a weak spot for the Bronco. And as I get out of it, you see even more that this rear wheel is off the ground, which means you're gonna lose traction. So that's a point in the Wrangler's favor because it's gonna maintain traction longer. Now, this thing is larger, wider. It has taller tires on it, so I thought it would do better. I mean, in this case, I would air down significantly if I was going off-road with 35s, make the comfort better, make traction a little bit better. But I'm actually pretty surprised that the Bronco didn't make it all the way up there without keeping all four wheels on the ground. And yeah, I can see full air underneath. Now, it could make it up there, but the point I'm looking to prove here is which one has better articulation. And in this case, it's clearly the Wrangler.
coolest other thing that just came about, now I didn't know how I felt about this when it first started, was the ducking thing. So ducking a Jeep or going up and placing a small rubber duck on it. I didn't really get it in the beginning until I walked out one day at Walmart and I saw there was a duck on my door handle of my Wrangler. And I thought to myself, you know, I was just going there to pick up a couple things, and I walked out and someone in the community was saying hello just by dropping it there. I don't know who it was. Some of them leave QR codes or names on it, but I just kind of got a little bit of a warm feeling inside. It was cool. And from that point on, even as a hardcore off-roader and doing all these things, I thought it was pretty neat.
Now, one of the things that I guess I didn't fully understand on the 4xe was this doesn't have an alternator. And typically an alternator is attached to the engine and it's constantly charging your 12-volt system, and then your vehicle's accessories, your stereo, whatnot, are running off of that 12-volt battery. Well, this still has a 12-volt battery like a normal vehicle, but there's no alternator. In fact, in its place is one of the 2 electric motors that drives this thing right along. So how does that battery get its power? Well, there's what's called a DC to DC charger. And so it takes the power from that 17.3 kilowatt battery, which is at 400 volts, and transfers it to this battery, which is at 12 volts. So the minute you turn the vehicle on, that system is operating to keep this battery charged, which from an overland perspective is pretty intriguing. So I've kind of started running a little bit experiment where I've installed a 25-liter Dometic fridge in the back, and I plugged it into the standard 12-volt outlet that's back there. And I've been running that thing for a week nonstop. I haven't turned it off once. Now, I do drive this vehicle every day, so it's depleting this battery a little bit, but the minute I turn the vehicle on, the vehicle system is instantly charging this battery. And that fridge does have a little fail-safe option where I think if this battery goes below 11.4 volts, the fridge will shut off, so you can still start the vehicle. But I'm intrigued to see how this can actually work in an overland setting. Do I need to install a extra battery in here like you typically would, or do I even need to bring like a Jackery or Goal Zero with me anymore? This might actually be a pretty good solution for your overland accessories. I don't know. I didn't really understand that. Now I'm super intrigued to see, and I will report back on how things go with that fridge.
Well, with this open roof, you got all the room. Plus there's 4 USB ports and a household outlet. Every Wrangler now comes with a 12.3-inch touchscreen, which is way bigger than before, much higher res. It really works well. I'm so glad that Jeep put this in because it actually looks well integrated on this whole dashboard. It's not tacked on. I like that. Also, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And you can also get adventure guides. This will show you up to 3,000 different trails all across the United States. It does require a subscription, but it's kind of cool that you can do this right from the Jeep. Before, there was just a smartphone app, and now it's right here. I like that a lot. On the 4xe, there's also some special e-hybrid controls. Not only can you see the power flow, but you can adjust, for example, how you want to save the battery or charge the battery while you're driving. Set up charging schedules if you're so inclined. That's here. There's also more standard safety features. Sport S and above trims all get forward collision warning and braking, plus adaptive cruise control that was not available as standard before.
Something else I didn't know that you probably didn't know? The #1 selling plug-in hybrid electric vehicle last year, it wasn't a Toyota Prius, it was a Jeep Wrangler 4xe.
Now we're going to do the less famous than the Ziggurat, but still world famous hill climb. This one has actually caught out a couple of vehicles in the past where it's high centered them and we couldn't make it all the way up, but I don't think the Wrangler and the Bronco are going to have any trouble with it. I'm going to start out in 4 high. I'm not going to engage the lockers, and I'm going to see how far I can make it up the hill. And if there's a problem, if I lose traction, if I can't quite make an articulation move, then I'll start changing settings. All right, pretty simple. Here we go. Up the hill climb. Now I try and pick the same line every time, sort of right up the center. Do my best not to get stuck. I don't want to give myself a problem that I have to solve later. I'm still in 4 high, and the electric motor on this is really good at just crawling up things. I don't think I'm even going to need to go into 4 low. Oh, hey, there we go. Big ditch. Still in 4 high. Gonna make it out though. Might high center a little bit. Oh, a little bit of slidey. Stayed in 4 high. Definitely got some dirt spitting out there, but made it to the top. Well, that was fun. I descended a little bit, got some dirt inside the cabin because the window was open, but had a good time. It was relatively easy, and I stayed in 4 high the whole time. Let's try it with the Bronco. All right, we're going up the same line. I can actually see where the tire tracks are from the Wrangler just a moment ago. I'm still in 4 high in the Bronco. Want to treat it the same way, see if it can make it up without any assist from the systems. Sway bars still connected. Ooh, 4 high doesn't want to do it in the Bronco. Might have to switch to 4 low. Oh, don't want to get stuck. All right, so I'm going to go into 4 low. I got to go into neutral for that. Okay, we are switched into 4 low. That's real interesting. Did not want to go in 4 high. I wonder if the, okay. Oh, now I'm just going to dig myself a hole. So I got to back out of it, give it a little bit better chance. And I think what I'm going to do is engage the front locker. It seems that the left side on that one is, remember, this is the same line as the Wrangler. It might have to do with the 35s too. Okay, lockers, now that did it. Front locker did it. It got me out of that mess. But now I'm on a line that I do not like. I got dipped into a hole. This is not as easy for the Bronco as it was for the Wrangler. The Wrangler just went right up this stuff. So I'm going to do rear lockers as well. 4 low, front and rear lockers engaged. Going up the exact same line as the Wrangler. Now it feels a little bit easier. That was just too much for the Bronco without the lockers, which is, man, you know, you think you know a truck and you put it up against some tough stuff. Now I probably could have left it in 4 high and then just engage the lockers, but you know, you try one thing, then you try the next, and you're up the hill. Whew. Now that was not as easy as I expected. It was a lot more difficult. I had to engage 4 low, which didn't do the trick. Then I had to engage the front locker, which got me past one of the sets of hills. And then I had to engage the rear locker to get me past another one of the sets of hills. And finding the buttons was easy on the dashboard, but boy, it's a lot easier to do that in the Wrangler than it was in the Bronco.
Jeep has put more insulation into the glass, so it's an acoustic laminated glass. They put more foam insulation in the windshield headers, the B-pillars right behind me. Thicker carpeting, 8-speed automatic transmission with that electric motor mounted within between the engine and the transmission. So it shifts normally, even when the engine is fully off. Then it awakens just like that. Really not much stutter at all when the engine starts and shuts down. And the great thing is that when you're on a trail or you're on the road, you're still getting the same amount of traction. So it's going to behave exactly the same as any other Wrangler. And that's the key thing to understand about the 4xe, is that you're getting the extra fuel savings when you have it charged and plugged in, but it's not operating any differently. So if you're a little hesitant towards getting one, just know that it's not going to change the way you drive it. Wrangler at all. Jeep claims up to 21 miles of EPA estimated electric range. I'd say they're pretty accurate. The 4xe comes with 3 different driving modes for the electric powertrain. There's hybrid, which comes on standard. That's the default one. Electric, which is fully electric as it sounds. Unless you put your foot down, then it will engage that gas engine, and I'm glad it does. And then there's e-save, and there's 2 modes within that mode. Right now I have it on battery charging, so when I'm driving, the gas engine is acting more as a generator to charge that electric battery. That helps. If you want to, say, go on a trail and maybe do that a little bit later and you want to have a few more miles of gas-free driving, that's nice. But even in this street-friendly trim, this is still a Wrangler. So it does Wrangler things. I'm going to put it back into hybrid mode. What's more notable about the 4xe is that it's quieter on the trail as opposed to quieter on the road. That's where it really comes in, this benefit of having electrification. You can really enjoy nature some more and not hear a diesel or a gas engine just clattering along. So here's the difference with the Wrangler 4xe's four-wheel drive. When you're in 4-high part-time, it's keeping the engine running even with the battery charged because it's assuming you're probably going to go into low, and that definitely needs all the available torque. But if I flip it into 4H auto, things quiet down a bit, and that's where it gets nice. Because if you don't need the diff lockers, if you don't need all the low range, you can just creep along silently. I really like this roof. It's a $4,000 option, but it's so much nicer than having to take off the hardtop panels or detach the soft top and have it flutter in the back like that because it doesn't ever properly stow. This is really nice. It truly is, and this will operate at highway speeds up to about 60 miles an hour, so you don't have to stop to close it, unlike a lot of convertible tops. Now, the real Jeep enthusiasts would say, well, this is a real bougie way of off-roading, and they're right, but this is how I would do it. Up the hill, full electric torque. More throttle, still fully electric. That's great, truly. That was not the smallest incline, and the electric motors have no issue powering the Jeep up there. And again, I want to go back into 4-high, and I need maximum power, maximum torque, then the engine fires right up. But you don't hear a shudder, you don't hear it shake. The 2024 Jeep Wrangler starts at $32,095. The 4xe is $49,995. And that's actually less than last year because there's a new Sport S. There's also a Rubicon X for a total of 6 trims versus 4 from 2023. As tested, this is not a cheap Jeep, $70,680 with destination. There's a federal tax credit if you purchase or finance with $3,750. There's not the full $7,500 due to the new IRS rules. But if you lease, you're gonna get some seriously great deals, and that's why the 4xe is so popular. I like the incremental changes that Jeep makes to the Wrangler every year, especially now with technology and safety. That makes this a lot more livable and a lot easier to recommend to people who have never had one. But it's still a Jeep, and that means high resale value and really terrible to drive on the road for the most part. It's not a practical vehicle in that sense, and that's why it's so good, because it's not like other SUVs and crossovers. It's tough, it's got the iconic looks, and just like a Porsche 911 or other vehicles that don't really change from generation to generation, this is gonna stay the same no matter what it's powered by.
So here's something that no one's ever asked for. Is the Wrangler 4xe faster around an off-road course in full electric mode or in hybrid mode? Well, today's your lucky day because we're gonna find out. Ready? In 3, 2, 1. I should also mention I can't floor it because that'll kick on the gas engine, so it'll be a little bit of a slow start, but we're gonna get to going. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, it's weird, it's so quiet. It's so quiet. Ooh, it doesn't love to brake. It's heavy. It actually feels pretty quick though. The immediate torque is really something on this off-road stuff. Where did my forward-facing camera go? That's where I need it. Why have you turned off? Why have you abandoned me? Like my father. Just kidding, Dad, I love you. This feels quick though. It is weird to have no sound. All right, here comes the ruddy bits. Oh, huck it in. Oh, there's a big old boulder there. Careful now, careful now. Brake for the ruddy bits. Don't kill Kelly's Jeep. Coming up. Good approach. Again, forward-facing camera goes off at certain speeds. Now I've lost it entirely. Ah! Rotate, rotate. Doesn't want to rotate. Doesn't want to rotate. Ooh, there we go. And across the line. Okay, we're in hybrid mode. Yes, good. All right. Front-facing camera on. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Nope, I'm in park. I wish I could say that that's the first time I've done that, but we did that in the Bronco Raptor too. 3, 2, 1. And we're off. Ooh, it feels immediately. Oh, there's turbo. There's turbo. Oh my God. Pitch it in under braking. Trail braking. Holy sh**. Ah! What's happened? Oh my God, this is so much. Why is this so much harder? Oh, I've lost front facing camera. Oh, it's weird. It's like there's something affecting the steering in terms of how it's producing power. It's not as linear or natural as the electric. It does feel noticeably faster though. I'm gonna avoid that rut a little bit more if I can. Yeah, see, the turbo just wants to shove it along. You actually have so much more control and finesse with just the electric. Up the hill, up the hill, up the hill. Brake at the top for breakover and down the hill. Woo! There's that tummy in the air feeling. Whoa! Get it around on power. Not that much. Stupid recirculating ball steering. On power, rotate it and across the line. Wow, that was a handful and a half. I gotta be honest. When we came into this first corner, I got on power right about here and then just completely lost it over here. The steering is not as fast. Not as fast, not as much finesse. Ooh, that was fun though. So yeah, this is not a Baja vehicle. So when you go over a certain speed, the front facing camera is gonna turn off because I'm not in Baja mode. There is not a Baja mode. So yeah, something to be aware of. So that's it. Those are the 23 things that you need to know about the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon X 4xe. And it's pretty cool.